What's really happening behind the scenes of South Korea's biggest entertainment empire? Is HYBE, the mega agency behind BTS, beginning to lose control over its own artists? That question set the internet ablaze after two of the biggest K-pop stars, Jungkook and Jimin, made a stunning revelation that rocked the fanbase overnight. It all began during a casual live stream on a fan platform. What started as a normal Q&A suddenly shifted into an emotional and unexpected confession. Jimin looked hesitant, while Jungkook stared straight into the camera and said, "It's time we tell the truth about the relationship we've been hiding." Instantly, the comment section exploded with panic, speculation, and tears. Many feared it might be a scandal, or even a sign of BTS breaking up. But what came next shattered expectations. We've shared a bond for a long time, not just as teammates. We've depended on each other, kept secrets, and survived hard times, without anyone knowing. Jimin nodded, his voice trembling as he added, "We're not just coworkers. We're family who protect each other." But for too long, we were asked not to appear too close in public. That confession brought many armies to tears, not from disappointment, but from finally hearing what they had long suspected in silence. For years, their interactions had been watched and questioned. But that night, every puzzle piece seemed to fall into place. They weren't a romantic couple, as many tabloids had speculated. They were souls tied together in a bond deeper than mere friendship. What struck even harder was their subtle admission that the agency once tried to restrict their closeness. "We were asked to keep our distance," Jimin whispered, "because they said it could change our image. But is it wrong to just be ourselves?" That question hung in the air, shaking the very foundation of public trust in HYBE. Had the BTS members been pressured all this time to hide their emotions just to protect a brand? And if so, was this the start of a much-needed wave of honesty that might reveal more hidden truths? HYBE has yet to issue an official statement. But one thing is clear. The world now sees Jungkook and Jimin not just as superstars. They are human. They are brothers. And that night, they proved that honesty, no matter how terrifying, is the purest form of love, both for themselves and for their fans. Will this change the face of K-pop forever? Or will it mark a turning point where idols can finally live more freely? One thing's certain. The world will never look at Jungkook and Jimin the same way again. In the days following their emotional revelation, the atmosphere among fans shifted drastically. There was a mix of relief and tension lingering in the air. Armies began revisiting old clips, rewatching their interactions through a new lens. Small moments once brushed off as jokes or fan service now seemed like quiet cries for understanding, deeper looks, meaningful silences, and hugs that lasted just a little longer than expected. Behind the scenes, HYBE remained silent. No statements. No explanations. Just stillness. Yet inside sources claimed that the agency's headquarters was on high alert. Reports suggested that internal debates were heating up within PR and management divisions. Should they allow this newfound freedom to grow? Or should they tighten the leash that had briefly been loosened? Some industry analysts called it HYBE's biggest challenge since BTS rose to fame. "This isn't just about Jimin and Jungkook," said one veteran journalist. "This is about the future direction of an entire industry. If they silence this truth, they'll lose the trust of a generation that values authenticity." Meanwhile, Jungkook and Jimin went quiet after the live stream. No new posts. No follow-up broadcasts. Just silence. Yet in that silence, there was power. Fans understood that this wasn't a publicity stunt or a media ploy. It was real. Old wounds finally brought to light. And maybe, just maybe, they were waiting for the right moment to speak again on their own terms. Will this spark others in the industry to come forward? Will more idols find the courage to break free from carefully curated images? Or will this truth be punished in silence, as so many stories before have been? Whatever the answer, one thing is certain. Jimin and Jungkook have started something that can't be undone. They opened a door. They lit a fire, and though the road ahead is uncertain, the world now knows, behind the dazzling lights and choreographed smiles, there are two young men brave enough to choose truth over image. Two friends who vowed never to stay silent again, even if it means going against the very system that created them. I ask this the price of honesty? Or perhaps the beginning of the freedom they've been silently fighting for all along? A few days after their confession, the dominoes began to fall. Major Korean and global news outlets splashed dramatic headlines across the web. HYBE cracking from within, Jungkook and Jimin, voices of rebellion in a suppressive industry, K-pop idols or silent prisoners. Suddenly, idols from other groups, without naming names, began sharing cryptic posts. Captions like, "It's okay to be real," quotes about honesty, and nostalgic videos showing close bonds between group mates started flooding social media. It was as if Jimin and Jungkook's courage had ignited something in others long buried beneath industry pressure. A former trainee from a major label even tweeted, "We were told not to get too close, not to be too real, not to show too much emotion. But hearts can't be manufactured." Jungkook and Jimin proved that. Public demand for change exploded. Online petitions were launched, demanding that HYBE grant more personal freedom to its artists. Fans rejected the culture of total control and called for a new era of humanity and transparency. A global campaign titled #LetThemLive spread rapidly across platforms and continents, but alongside that wave of support came equally heavy resistance. Several sponsors were reportedly reconsidering their contracts. Some broadcast stations postponed scheduled appearances. As always, the corporate world weighed profit above truth. And amid all this tension, Jimin and Jungkook remained silent. Yet that silence no longer felt weak. It felt powerful. Fans came to realize this wasn't a spectacle to be milked for drama. This was reality. And perhaps the two weren't staying quiet out of fear, but out of dignity. They had already said what needed to be said. Now, they were letting the world catch up. Will this change K-pop forever? Will agencies learn that idols aren't puppets, but real human beings with emotional needs and the right to live freely? Or will the world close its eyes again, forgetting everything as soon as the next headline appears? Whatever the outcome, one truth remains. That night will be remembered as a turning point in K-pop history.